This is a story about a truth you will never be taught in a hospital, let alone in a medical textbook. It's a truth about the small, seemingly insignificant habits we repeat every single morning. Without a second thought, these habits, these tiny rituals, have the power to stop your heart, rupture a blood vessel in your brain, or shatter your bones. And it can happen in a matter of seconds. An analysis of emergency room records at a renowned university medical center revealed a startling statistic: 35% of all emergency admissions for individuals over the age of 70 were concentrated in the morning hours. When we dug deeper, we found that the vast majority of these incidents were triggered by a single, common action they had performed every day for years. When I first learned of this shocking reality, I couldn't sleep. You see, I wasn't just a doctor reading a study. I was a potential victim. 30 years ago, when I was a busy 62-year-old physician, I experienced a crisis that changed my life forever. My daily routine was a textbook example of what not to do. I would wake up, immediately drink a glass of ice-cold milk on an empty stomach, swallow my blood pressure medication, and rush out the door to the hospital. It was a life lived in fast forward. Then, one morning, as I swung my legs out of bed and stood up, a wave of intense dizziness washed over me. The world tilted on its axis. On my way to the bathroom, I collapsed, fracturing my femur. The fall was sudden, brutal, and life-altering. I spent the next 8 months in a hospital bed, and then in grueling rehabilitation. A profound sense of defeat consumed me. I was a doctor, a man who had spent his career teaching patients how to live healthy lives. How could I have made such a catastrophic mistake? How could I, who understood the human body so intimately, have been so blind to the dangers in my own daily life? During my recovery, I stumbled upon a research paper written by a leading geriatric specialist from a major research hospital. The paper contained a fact that hit me with the force of a physical blow. For older adults, morning habits determine as much as 80% of their overall health and well-being. From that day forward, I completely overhauled my morning routine. No more rushing. No more cold drinks on an empty stomach. I made 5 simple changes. I started waking up slowly, giving my body time to adjust. I drank a glass of lukewarm water first thing. I performed a few minutes of gentle stretching before my feet even touched the floor. I ate a warm, nourishing breakfast. I took my medication after this light meal. Never before. Just these 5 changes. That was it. And my body transformed completely. The secret to how at 93 years old, I am still practicing medicine and taking walks in the park, lies in that transformation. A simple shift in my morning habits gifted me an extra 30 years of life. When you picture a 93-year-old, what do you see? Perhaps someone who needs help just to get to the bathroom, or someone who spends their entire day sitting in front of a television. I am here to challenge that image. I still see patients every morning and give medical lectures twice a week. Does that sound unbelievable? My secret isn't about what I add to my life, it's about what I subtract. The most profound truth I've learned in my long career as a physician is that what you remove is often far more important than what you add. Before prescribing a single pill, the first step must always be to eliminate the habits that are causing harm. Over the past 45 years, I have met with tens of thousands of older patients in my office. So many of them shared similar stories of suddenly collapsing, falling, or being rushed to the emergency room with a heart attack in the morning. I have witnessed, far too many times, the tragic reality that habits which were harmless in our youth become deadly as we age. A routine that was perfectly fine in your 40 seconds can become a dangerous warning sign in your 60 seconds. And by your 70 seconds and 80 seconds, it can become a direct threat to your life. Today, I will share this truth with you, holding nothing back. Are you, perhaps, one of the many who experience sudden dizziness in the morning? Do you feel your heart flutter or race? Do your knees ache, making it difficult to walk? Or do you wake up every morning feeling inexplicably drained, short of breath, with a fog clouding your mind? These symptoms are not an inevitable part of aging. They are signals from your body, and they can be corrected, often immediately, with small changes to your daily habits. My hope is that this conversation we're having today will be the small beginning that saves the health and perhaps even the life of someone you love. I'm asking you to try just 2 things. Avoid 5 specific actions and practice 3 simple habits. If you do, I promise your days will feel lighter and more energetic. And you may find you can avoid unnecessary trips to the doctor. This is especially critical if you are over the age of 60. Now is the time to act. This is the core of my secret to living a healthy, active life to the age of 93. It's not about expensive medications or complicated treatments. It's about small, simple changes in your daily life that you can start making right now. The rest of this discussion is the heart of the matter. To truly grasp the context, you must understand the full picture. Your morning routine can change your day, protect your future, and even save your life. Here are the 5 things you must never do in the morning, followed by the 3 habits you absolutely must adopt. Each piece of advice is built upon decades of precious experience, treating countless patients, and is supported by the latest medical research. Part 1. The 5 behaviors to avoid in the morning. Behavior 1. Jumping out of bed. The first, and arguably most dangerous, morning habit is leaping out of bed the moment you wake up. Think about it. Your body has been in a horizontal position for 8 hours. When you suddenly stand up, gravity pulls your blood down into your legs and lower body. For a brief moment, the blood supply to your brain is reduced. In this critical window, your brain is starved of oxygen. This can cause a sudden wave of dizziness, blurred vision, and in the worst-case scenario, you can lose consciousness and fall. In medical terms, this phenomenon is called orthostatic hypotension, or postural hypotension. As we age, our blood vessels lose their elasticity, and the body's internal barometer, which regulates blood pressure, becomes less responsive. This makes the symptoms of orthostatic hypotension far more severe. When you're young, your body can compensate for the sudden change in posture almost instantly, but after the age of 60, this adaptive ability declines sharply. Let me tell you about a patient of mine, Robert. He was 72 years old and had a lifelong habit of jumping out of bed the second his alarm clock went off. He was a man of action, always in a hurry. One morning, just like any other, he bolted upright. A fleeting but intense spell of dizziness caused him to stumble and fall, and he fractured his femur. After months of painful rehabilitation, he was finally able to walk again, but he never regained the vibrant, active life he once had. His confidence was shattered, and a shadow of fear followed him everywhere. A tragedy like Robert's could have been prevented if he had just taken an extra 3 seconds to move slowly. His case is a stark reminder that a momentary lapse in judgment, a single instance of carelessness, can irrevocably alter the rest of your life. When you wake up, you must follow a gentle, 3-step process. First, while still lying down, gently move your hands and feet. Wiggle your toes and fingers, and slowly rotate your ankles and wrists. This simple action helps to stimulate blood circulation and sends a signal to your body that it's time to wake up. Next, slowly turn onto your side and use your arms to push yourself up into a seated position. Sit on the edge of the bed for at least 1 full minute. Let your feet dangle. This crucial minute allows your circulatory system to adjust. The blood that pooled in your lower body has time to redistribute, ensuring your brain has a steady supply. This 1 minute might be the most important minute of your day. It could save you from a devastating fall. Finally, stand up slowly. Once you are on your feet, remain standing in place for another 10 seconds before you start walking. This gives your body ample time to adapt to the new, upright posture. This simple routine dramatically reduces the risk of fractures caused by falls in the morning. This is especially important for anyone taking medication for high blood pressure, diuretics, or sleeping pills. These drugs can lower blood pressure or reduce fluid levels in the body, further increasing the risk of orthostatic hypotension. Research from a leading university's School of Geriatric Medicine found that a staggering 60% of morning falls among the elderly are caused by orthostatic hypotension. Simply knowing this fact can be life-saving. Have you ever felt the room go dark or experienced a head rush when you stood up too quickly in the morning? If so, that is your body sending you a critical warning sign. You need to change your habit. Starting tomorrow morning, a small change prevents a major accident. Behavior 2. Consuming cold food or drinks. The second behavior to avoid is consuming cold foods or drinks first thing in the morning. The morning is when your core body temperature is at its lowest point in the entire 24-hour cycle. When you introduce something cold into your system at this time, it puts extreme stress on your heart. Imagine pouring ice water over yourself in the middle of winter. That's the kind of shock your heart experiences. Our body's autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary functions like heart rate and blood pressure, is at its most sensitive in the morning. It is therefore much more vulnerable to this kind of temperature shock. The sudden cold can cause your arteries to constrict abruptly, reducing blood flow to the heart. This can be a direct trigger for angina, chest pain, or even a myocardial infarction heart attack. I had a patient named Emily, a 3-year-old woman who started every single morning with a glass of milk straight from the refrigerator and a bowl of cold fruit. One spring morning, immediately after drinking her usual cold milk, she felt a sudden, crushing pain in her chest. She was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with angina. As her physician, I convinced her to change her breakfast routine. Within 3 months of switching to warm foods, her symptoms completely disappeared. A simple dietary change was all it took to prevent a potentially fatal condition. Many older adults believe that a glass of cold milk or some fruit from the fridge is a healthy way to start the day. But it is an incredibly dangerous habit. Your first intake of the day should always be a glass of lukewarm water. After that, give your body about 10 minutes to warm up before slowly eating a warm meal like oatmeal, a bowl of soup, or scrambled eggs. This is the simplest and most effective way to protect your heart. As we get older, our digestive power also weakens. Warm, cooked foods are much easier to digest than cold foods. This is crucial for your gastrointestinal health as well. Don't let the summer weather fool you. If anything, the risk can be higher due to air conditioning, which can lower your body temperature even further. Any food you take out of the refrigerator should be left to sit at room temperature for at least 30 minutes before you eat it. This advice is even more critical for individuals with a history of heart disease or high blood pressure. The rapid change in body temperature caused by cold food can lead to a spike in blood pressure and an increased load on the heart. Major medical institutions officially recommend the consumption of warm foods in the morning, especially for patients with a history of angina or heart attack. This guideline is of paramount importance. What did you eat for breakfast this morning? If it was something cold, I urge you to switch to a warm meal tomorrow. This simple change can make a massive improvement in your heart health. Behavior 3. Taking medication on an empty stomach. The third thing you must never do is take medication on an empty stomach. After a full night without eating, your stomach lining is exposed and vulnerable. Taking medication in this state can cause direct damage to the stomach wall, alter the effectiveness of the drug, and can even lead to a dangerous episode of hypoglycemic shock, low blood sugar. This is particularly dangerous for older adults, as the protective mucus layer in the stomach tends to thin with age. When your stomach is empty, acid secretion can increase. If you take a pill at this time, the stomach lining is directly exposed to the concentrated medication, leading to irritation and damage. Furthermore, taking medicine on an empty stomach can change the rate at which the drug is absorbed, leading to unexpected and potentially harmful side effects. David, a 75-year-old patient of mine, had been taking medication for both high blood pressure and arthritis on an empty stomach for 30 years. It was just his routine. One morning, he suddenly vomited a substance that looked like black coffee grounds, a telltale sign of digested blood. He collapsed and was rushed to the hospital with severe gastric bleeding. He spent 2 weeks in the intensive care unit. All of that suffering could have been avoided if he had simply eaten a small piece of toast before taking his pills. Certain medications, especially non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs like ibuprofen or naproxen, which are commonly used for arthritis, are known to directly damage the stomach lining. Taking them on an empty stomach multiplies the risk. When taken in conjunction with blood pressure medication, the danger increases even more. When you take your morning medication, always drink a full glass of water, and be sure to eat something simple, like a banana, a hard-boiled egg, or a slice of toast. Before you take the pills, This small habit will protect your stomach, ensure your medication works as intended, and could even save your life. Be especially cautious with medications that are known to be hard on the stomach: aspirin, anti-inflammatory painkillers, steroids, and certain antibiotics should always be taken with food. Now, it's important to note that some medications are specifically designed to be taken on an empty stomach because food can interfere with their absorption. Thyroid medications and some antibiotics fall into this category. Therefore, it is essential that you consult with your doctor or pharmacist and follow their specific instructions for your prescriptions. However, as a general rule, most medications are safer and better tolerated when taken with food. Data from the American Pharmaceutical Association shows that taking medication on an empty stomach can increase the risk of gastritis and ulcers by a factor of 4 and can reduce the drug's efficacy by up to 30%. If you don't know this, you could be taking your medicine every day without receiving its full benefit. How do you take your medication in the morning? If it's on an empty stomach, please change that habit today. Medicine is meant to heal you, not to create a new illness. Following the proper administration method is a simple act of wisdom that enhances the medicine's benefits and reduces its risks. Behavior 4. Strenuous early morning exercise. The fourth dangerous morning habit is engaging in strenuous exercise too early in the day. In the early morning hours, particularly before 10 a.m., your heart and blood vessels are in their most rigid and vulnerable state of the entire day. Suddenly engaging in intense activity during this window dramatically increases your risk of a heart attack or stroke. There are several physiological reasons for this. First, your blood is thicker and more viscous in the morning, a state known as increased blood viscosity. Second, levels of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, are at their peak, placing additional strain on the cardiovascular system. Finally, after a night without fluids, your body is dehydrated, which can increase the risk of blood clot formation thrombosis. A dear friend of mine for many years, a professor named Michael, used to go for a vigorous hike at 5 a.m. every morning. It was a habit he had maintained for over 40 years, and he was immensely proud of his health and fitness. One morning, deep in the woods, he suddenly clutched his chest and collapsed. It was a massive heart attack. Thanks to the quick action of another hiker, his life was saved, but he permanently lost 30% of his heart function. This tragedy could have been avoided if he had simply shifted his exercise time to later in the day. Michael had no prior issues on his regular health checkups and considered himself to be in peak physical condition, but the danger of early morning exercise applies to everyone. Regardless of their fitness level, the safest time to exercise is after 10 a.m. By this time, your body temperature has risen, and the state of your blood vessels has optimized. Before you begin any exercise, it is absolutely essential to perform a warm-up of at least 10 minutes, starting with a light walk. The intensity of your workout should be increased gradually. This is the way to protect your heart. The older you get, the more time your body needs to warm up. You can't just jump into intense exercise like you did in your youth. That is a recipe for disaster. This is especially true for anyone with pre-existing conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease. For these individuals, strenuous early morning exercise should be avoided at all costs. A study by a major university research team found that early morning exercise increases the risk of a cardiovascular event in older adults by a staggering 7 times. What time of day do you exercise? If it's in the early morning, I implore you to change your schedule immediately. Your life could be at stake. Exercise is for your health, not to threaten your life. Simply adjusting the time can maximize the benefits of your workout while minimizing the risks. Behavior 5. Rushing to the toilet. The fifth and final behavior to avoid is rushing to the bathroom, hurrying to the toilet in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning. Driven by the urgency of a bladder that has been full for hours, is one of the biggest causes of falls and fractures. This is particularly dangerous for older adults, whose sense of balance is often diminished. When your bladder is full, the pain and discomfort can cause you to move much faster than you normally would, and this is what creates the dangerous moment. Furthermore, Visibility is often poor at night, making it difficult to see obstacles in your path. John, a 65-year-old man, had been holding his urine all night. In the pre-dawn darkness, he rushed to get to the bathroom. He tripped over a rug in the dark hallway and fell hard, fracturing his hip. He underwent surgery, but due to complications, he now cannot walk without the assistance of a cane. This misfortune could have been prevented if he had simply changed the way he went to the toilet. In John's case, he had an enlarged prostate, which frequently caused urinary urgency and a habit of rushing to find a bathroom. Ultimately, it was this habit that led to his life-changing accident. When you need to use the bathroom in the morning or during the night, sit on the edge of your bed for at least a few seconds to orient yourself before slowly making your way. For nighttime use, using a portable bedside commode is the safest option. There are many user-friendly models available today for both men and women. To reduce the need to get up during the night, it's also helpful to moderate your fluid intake in the evening. Avoid drinks containing caffeine, such as tea or coffee, as they can stimulate the bladder. Ensure that the path to your bathroom is well lit. Install nightlights. Remove any potential tripping hazards like rugs, cords, or slippers. This small amount of preparation can prevent a major accident. The path from your bedroom to the bathroom needs to be managed with particular care. If necessary, install handrails in the hallway, or use sensor-activated lights, so you can move safely, even in the dark. The American Geriatric Society identifies falls on the way to the bathroom as a leading cause of fractures in the elderly and emphasizes safety protocols specifically for nighttime toilet use. Take a moment right now and think about the path to the bathroom in your own home. Is it well lit and safe? When you get home tonight, please check. A small change can prevent a big accident. Part 2. The 3 habits to practice every morning. Now that we've covered the 5 things you must avoid, let's talk about the 3 beneficial habits you should practice. Habit 1. Drink a glass of lukewarm water. Our bodies lose approximately 500 milliliters, about 17 ounces of water during a night's sleep through breathing and perspiration. When you drink a glass of lukewarm water in this dehydrated state, it smoothly kickstarts your circulation and activates the detoxification functions of your kidneys and liver. It thins the blood that has become concentrated overnight, reducing the risk of clot formation. It also improves blood flow to the brain, which helps restore alertness and vitality as you wake up. Furthermore, it stimulates the intestines, promoting a natural and regular bowel movement. In my 45 years as a physician, I have repeatedly emphasized the importance of this first glass of water. I advised a patient, Sarah, an 80-year-old woman, to start her day with a glass of lukewarm water. Within 3 months, her chronic constipation and dizziness vanished. She had been dependent on laxatives for years, but this one simple habit allowed her to have regular bowel movements without any medication. The dizziness and headaches she used to experience every morning also improved significantly. The ideal temperature for the water is close to your body temperature, around 95 graf to 98 ff. Yatiu och 5 graf to heriatiu och 7 gras. It's better to sip it slowly, about 200 milliliters or 7 ounces, rather than drinking a large amount all at once, which can be harsh on the stomach. Even now, at 93, I adhere to this habit every single morning. It is the best way to start the day and a key secret to maintaining my health without relying on medication. For an added benefit, you can add a drop or 2 of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to the water, which can further stimulate intestinal motility. One important note: you must avoid cold water. As we discussed, cold water can cause blood vessels to constrict and put a strain on your heart. This is especially important for those with a history of heart disease. Also, individuals with kidney disease may have restrictions on their fluid intake, so they should always consult with their doctor. But for the general elderly population, I recommend a glass of water in the morning to everyone. Research from a prominent university has even shown that the habit of drinking lukewarm water on an empty stomach helps prevent cognitive decline in older adults. Habit 2. Perform light stretching. A few minutes of gentle stretching to awaken the joints and muscles that have been stiff all night is one of the most effective ways to promote circulation and prevent falls. As we age, the flexibility of our joints decreases and muscle mass diminishes, making a morning stretch even more critical. Stretching supplies your muscles and joints with blood rich in oxygen and nutrients, which helps to relieve pain and make movement smoother. Margaret, an 85-year-old patient of mine, started doing a simple 5-minute stretching routine every morning. She reported that her chronic knee pain significantly decreased and her sense of balance improved dramatically. She used to fall frequently, but now she lives safely and has not fallen once since starting the routine. She had suffered from knee arthritis for over a decade, but with consistent morning stretching, she was able to cut her pain medication dosage in half. She used to have to grip the handrail tightly whenever she climbed stairs, but now she can walk up and down with confidence. You don't need a complicated routine. While sitting up in bed, you can achieve significant benefits just by doing 5 repetitions of each of the following: slowly turning your neck from side to side, shrugging your shoulders up and down, rotating your ankles, and gently bending and straightening your knees. I practice this simple routine myself every morning. Stretching the neck and shoulders is particularly beneficial for improving blood circulation to the brain and can help prevent morning headaches. Stretching the legs is effective in preventing deep vein thrombosis, DVT, a type of blood clot that can form in the legs. A word of caution: sudden or forceful movements, especially bending backward, can cause injury. It's crucial to move slowly and gently. If you feel any pain, stop immediately and switch to a lighter movement. For those with specific conditions like a herniated disc or severe arthritis, it's important to consult with a doctor or physical therapist to find a stretching routine that is appropriate for you. A stretch of the right intensity for your body is far more effective than forcing an aggressive movement. According to data from the National Institute of Health, older adults over the age of 70 who perform simple stretches every morning reduce their rate of falling by 25%. That's a 5-minute investment to prevent months of hospitalization. Do you stretch in the morning? If not, why not start tomorrow? It doesn't have to be complicated. A few simple movements are all it takes to start your day in a healthier way. Habit 3. Maintain a consistent mealtime. Eating your meals at the same time every day has a remarkable effect on stabilizing your body's internal clock circadian rhythm, which in turn benefits your digestion and blood sugar control. Our bodies are creatures of habit. When they get used to a consistent schedule, the secretion of digestive enzymes and the regulation of hormones become optimized. This biological rhythm becomes even more important as we age. Irregular eating habits can cause large fluctuations in blood sugar, increasing insulin resistance, which raises the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. William, a 8-year-old man, suffered from chronic indigestion and wild blood sugar swings due to his erratic meal schedule. Following my advice, he began eating breakfast every morning at exactly 7 a.m. Within 2 weeks, his symptoms had noticeably improved, and after 3 months, they were completely gone. William not only kept his mealtimes consistent, but also his portion sizes. As a result, he lost 10 pounds. His post-meal blood sugar readings, which he used to check every 30 minutes, stabilized, and he was able to reduce the frequency of his insulin injections. The most ideal schedule is to eat breakfast between 7 and 8 a.m., lunch between 12 and 1 p.m., and dinner between 6 and 7 p.m. Your meals should be composed of warm foods and be low in salt. It's particularly beneficial to eat a lighter dinner and to finish your meal at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, as this will contribute to better sleep quality. A regular meal schedule also leads to regular bowel movements, which is a cornerstone of digestive health. A note of caution: it's best to avoid high-sodium foods like processed meats or salty soups in the morning, as they can cause a rapid increase in blood pressure. Your morning meal should be centered around protein and complex carbohydrates, while in the evening, it's better to focus on vegetables rather than heavy proteins. Limiting snacking between meals is also helpful for managing blood sugar. Research from a university nutrition department has shown a direct link between regular eating habits and the prevention of metabolic diseases, with the regularity of breakfast time being the most crucial factor. Conclusion. So, how did you find the 5 dangerous morning habits and the 3 healthy habits I shared with you today? Let's summarize these vital health secrets one more time. The 5 things to avoid. Jumping out of bed. Standing up suddenly can cause dizziness, fainting, and falls. The 3-step habit of stretching while lying down, sitting on the edge of the bed for 1 minute, and then standing slowly will protect your bones and your life. Eating cold food. Your body temperature is at its lowest in the morning, and cold food puts extreme strain on your heart, which can cause angina or a heart attack. Starting with lukewarm water and eating a warm meal is the simplest way to protect your heart. Taking medicine on an empty stomach, this can damage your stomach lining, alter the drug's effectiveness, and cause a low blood sugar crisis. Always eat something simple before taking your medication. It's a simple but vital habit that protects your stomach and maximizes the medicine's efficacy. Strenuous early morning exercise. This is when your cardiovascular system is most vulnerable, and the incidence of heart attacks is highest. Exercise after 10 a.m. and always warm up sufficiently. Just changing the time can save your life. Rushing to the toilet. Hurrying to the bathroom after holding your urine all night is a frequent cause of falls. Sit for a moment before moving slowly, and consider using a bedside commode at night. Also, ensure the path is well lit and free of obstacles. If you can just avoid these 5 things and practice the 3 healthy habits: drinking lukewarm water, doing light stretching, and maintaining a consistent mealtime, the number of morning emergency room visits would decrease dramatically. It is the accumulation of these small changes that will build your healthy life, one that can last to 100 and beyond. Why not start tomorrow? If you found this information helpful, please share it with your parents, siblings, and friends whose health you care about. I will continue to share the wisdom of a 93-year-old physician with all my heart. Thank you for your time and attention. Be well.